earlier. You can type it out in chat and I'll go over it. So this is final exam version 7. Let's go through this again and just type in chat whenever you see the problem that's related to the ones that you get wrong. Alright, number 1, 2 radical 3 minus 5 radical 27. So we have to simplify the radical. The first one is okay. Second one is minus 5 times radical 9 times radical 3, right? So that's minus 5 times 3 times radical 3 is minus 15 radical 3. So now we have 2 radical 3 minus 15 radical 3. These are like radicals. So you can do 2 minus 15 is negative 13 radical 3. And that's answer choice A. Alright, as we do these, try it on the calculator. It should be really simple. Number 2, I told you about the secret, not the secret method, but a little shortcut that I use, right? That can save you a bit of time when you do these types of problems. So I see that the outside parentheses radical 5 is being distributed, right? So I look for, in the first term is a radical 65. So I look for that radical 5, right? That'll save me some time. So that's radical 5 times radical 13, right? So radical 5 distributes and you get 5 radical 13 plus 5 times 5. So that gives me 5 radical 13 plus 25. These are not like radicals, therefore you cannot combine them. Answer choice D. Right? Okay. The next one, number 3. I see we could write this as one large radical, right? This is 6 times 84 over 2. And you can remember that the 2 divides into the 84, right? So you could do 42 here. Okay, wait. So when I was doing these, I got it wrong because I didn't simplify. Yeah, so this is what you're looking for. You're simplifying under one radical, right? And this 42, you're left with 6 times 42. So that's what? 6 times 7 is 42, right? So that's why this simplifies to 6 radical 7. That's answer choice B. Okay, so at least these 3 radical problems, everyone should be getting them right if they're checking on the calculator. Okay, these next 2 here, we simplify. These are the laws of exponents here, right? Number 4. So I see there's some multiplication. There's no exponents outside of the parentheses, so no power rule. So this is just straight up multiplication here. So negative 13 times 6 gives us negative 78. And then I see x to the 8th times x to the 7, that's 8 plus 7, y to the negative 5 plus 15. So that gives us negative 78, x to the 15, y to the 10. So that is answer choice D. All right. So again, this is number 5 is also the product rule, right, of exponents. We have 12. There's nothing affecting that 12. Then we have x to the negative 1 plus negative 2 plus negative 6, and then y to the 4th. Right, so since these are all negatives, you can add them, you get negative 9. Right, so this is 12x to the negative 9, y to the 4th. We don't want a negative exponent, so we move it to the other side of the fraction bar and make it positive. And we have 12 y to the 4th over x to the 9th. Okay, so are those okay so far? Good. All right, these next few, Number 6, you just have to just remove the parentheses, right? And distribute, right? And then combine like terms. So the first group here, we have 17x squared minus 10x plus 18. Then you distribute this negative, you get plus 8x squared plus 5x minus 4. We combine like terms. So we got 7x squared plus 8x squared is 25x squared minus 10x plus 5x is minus 5x. And then plus 18 minus 14 is plus 14. So 25x squared minus 5x plus 14 is C. Number 7, multiply. So that's distributive property, right? 5x times x squared, 5x times 2x, 5x times 2. And then you move on to negative 6, right? Times x squared times 2x times 2. So the first term is 5x cubed plus 10x squared plus 10x minus 6x squared minus 12x minus 12. Then we can combine the like terms, right? So 5x cubed is all alone. We have 10x squared minus 6x squared is plus 4x squared. 10x minus 12x is minus 2x. And then lastly, minus 12. So we have 5x cubed plus 4x squared minus 2x minus 12. Be careful of all the signs. These can look very similar to each other. Number 8, we got a polynomial divided by a monomial, right? So you take the monomial, divide it into each term in the numerator. Right, so what does that look like? That's 6x to the 9th over negative 3x squared, negative 12x to the 6th over negative 3x squared, negative 9x squared over negative 3x squared. So that comes out to what? Negative 2x to the 9 minus 2 is 7. Negative 12 over negative 3 is positive, so that's plus 4. X to the 6 minus 2 is 4. And then negative 9 over negative 3 is plus 3. And x squared is cancel out. So that is negative 2x to the 7th plus 4x to the 4th plus 3 is C. So hopefully all of you got those correct. Okay, let's look at the next 4. Number 9, we look for the GCF, right? And if you get stuck, look at the answer choices. They show you it's either 2y or just 2, right? Both terms have y, so it has to be 2y, right? And you're left with 9x squared minus 16y squared. And hopefully you recognize that answer choice D is not correct because it's not factored completely. This is a difference of squares, right? So that comes out to 2y times 3x plus 4y and 3x minus 4y, right? The order of these factors don't matter. Answer choice A. Number 10, the past several versions I've been showing you just the trial and error method, right? And hopefully you all are better at it, right? Okay, so 3x squared, you can only get that by doing 3x times x, right? Now the thing to watch out for is the b here is a negative 20, right? While the c is positive. That means they're both negatives, okay? So how do you get a negative 12? You can do, without looking at the signs, it's 1, 12, 2, 6, 3, 4, right? Those are products that give you, and they both have to be negative. So how do we get negative 20? We need our outer product and the inner product need to add up to negative 20. So what if we put negative 6 here and negative 2 there? Let's see what the outer is. The outer here is negative 18 and the inner is negative 2x. And you can see that adds up to negative 20x. Alright, so I don't see a 3x minus 2. I see an x minus 6 here. Answer choice A is the correct answer. Alright, any problems with factoring? You know, you can always double check by multiplying, right? FOIL this out and see if you get the original. Yes, what's your question? For number 9, yes, they're both perfect squares. It's called the difference of squares. Do you remember when we went over difference of squares? When you have a squared minus b squared, it's equal to a plus b, a minus b. So 9x squared is a perfect square. 16y squared is a perfect square too. Okay, good. Number 11. So factor. There are 4 terms. I'm going to look to see if it factors by grouping. In my first group here, oh no, I don't mean to do that. Hold on a second here. Whenever I move the file, it like freezes my computer. Alright, there we go. Okay. They're always going to give you that problem, so you should try to remember. These are like exactly the same as the other versions. Alright, so the GCF of the first group here is what? It's 3a. So I factor 3a out and I get 4c plus d. In the second group, this is a leading coefficient is positive, so it's positive 7 and a b. And I get 4c plus d. So I see that the common binomial factor is the same, right? 4c plus d. So that's my first factor. My second factor is the 3a plus 7b. And let's see. 4c, nope, that's not there. 3a plus 7b is b. Number 12, this is the same one that, they always give. You see x represents a number, so it's 6 times a number, right? 6 times a number, and then 23 less than that means it comes after the 6x. That's what you're probably forgetting. You're probably doing 23 minus 6x, which is the most common mistake students make. But 23 less than means I have something, but 23 less than that something, right? And then the is the equal sign, 56. So that's A. Yeah, they give it to you every single time. So hopefully you get those right from now on. Number 13. So I hope everyone remembers now, right? We've done this many times, right? This is, you have to find the LCD and multiply by the LCD. What's the LCD of 6, 2, and 3? It is 6. Right? Are you identifying that really quickly now? And by the way, you can do this by doing the number solver, right? On the calculator. Do you all remember that one? Number solver. Okay, you can definitely check, right? But multiply by 6 each term. So we have 5x over 6 times 6 over 1 minus 5 over 2 times 6 over 1 is equal to negative 10 over 3 times 6 over 1. So the 6's cancel out. We have 5x. 2 goes into 6 3 times, so it's 5 times 3 is 15, so minus 15. 3 goes into 6 2 times, so this is negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. Then you add 15 to both sides, so we have 5x is equal to negative 5. Divide by 5 and you get negative 1. So that's D. Number 14, right? Same deal. You could do number solver as well. Okay, number solver. So we have to distribute the negative 2 on the right hand side. So we have 3x plus 15 is equal to positive 8x plus 10. So I'll move x to the left hand side. So I'm going to subtract 8x. I get negative 5x. And subtract 15 to both sides. And I still get negative 5. So if I divide by negative 5, I get x is equal to positive 1. Answer choice D. Alright, 15. Are you doing this on the calculator? If you have it, you might as well use the system of equations solver, right? Okay. Are you doing it by hand or on the calculator? Okay. So this one is asking you to solve for x, so you can cancel out y, right? So solve for x means cancel y. The way you do that is by making the terms of the coefficients of the y opposites of each other. So that means I'm going to multiply the first equation by 5, right? So I have 5 times negative 2x plus 2y is equal to 5 times 0. And then the second equation I multiply by negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2x plus 5y is equal to negative 2 times 3. Okay, let's see what these turn into. So that's negative 10x minus 10, plus 10y is equal to 0. The second equation is positive 4x minus 10y is equal to negative 6. We add, and these cancel out, right? So you have negative 6x is equal to negative 6. Therefore, x is equal to positive 1. B. All right, hopefully you get that, right? You're looking at the coefficients. You gotta make them opposites by multiplying. Does that make sense? 16, solve for x. So I see x is on the right hand side. So I gotta subtract 4y. So z minus 4y is equal to 4x. And then divide by 4. And we have x is equal to z minus 4. All of that over 4. So that's D. Number 17. This one you can do on the calculator, right? This is the poly solver. Make sure it's in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So I have to add 9 before I can throw it into the poly solver, right? So x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. A is equal to 1, b is equal to 6, c is equal to 9. But I prefer factoring. This is x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals 0. So x is equal to negative 3, right? because these are double roots or repeated roots. X is equal to -3 for both. That is B. Alright, we're getting towards the end. Let's look at 19. We have a right triangle, right? Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side, right? So anytime they're asking for the side, the leg, right? You have to do a hypotenuse squared minus the other leg squared, and then square root that whole thing, and that is equal to your leg, right? So this is what 225 minus 144, and when you do that, you get 81. Square root of 81 is equal to 9, so that's easy. 9, A. All right, inequalities. So this is a one variable linear inequality. So if you're having trouble with this, just watch carefully. So move the x to the left, non-x to the right. So I'll subtract 8x both sides, right? So negative 4x minus 8x is going to be greater than or equal to 28 minus 4. So negative 12x greater than or equal to 24. Now here's an important step. We divide by what number? Negative 12. When you do that, your inequality sign flips in the other direction. So this greater than or equal to becomes less than or equal to negative 2. So that means closed circle, right, at negative 2, and it goes towards negative infinity. That's answer choice A. Does that help? Okay, number 20. We have to substitute these values in, right? So just be careful with the negatives. I like to use the parentheses, or you should, because that's the only way you can get it correct. Negative 10 in parentheses squared plus negative 4 in parentheses squared times negative 10 plus negative 4 times negative 10. So this first term is 100 plus 16 times negative 10. That's negative 160, right? And then plus positive 40, right? So this comes out to negative 20, which is answer choice A. You could just type that into the calculator as well, but make sure you do use parentheses. Otherwise, the calculator, it's going to follow the order of operations. So however you type it in, it's going to do that correctly. So if you don't put parentheses, you'll get the wrong answer. Number 21, I told you the best way to do these problems, right, is to find the intercepts, right, which is the cover-up method. So how do you do that? You cover up x because x is equal to 0, right? When x is equal to 0, we have to figure out what y is equal to. And then we have to figure out when y is equal to 0, what is x equal to, right? So for x is equal to 0, you have negative 12y is equal to negative 60. Therefore, y is equal to 5, right? When you cover up the y, you get 10x is equal to negative 60. Therefore, x is equal to negative 6. Look how quick that was. And we look for 0, 0, 5 and negative 6, 0. So it's definitely not A. It's definitely not B. And it's not D. As you can see, 0, 5 and negative 6, 0 is in C. Any questions with that? All right, last page. Find the equation of the line passing through these points. What is the equation in slope-intercept form? So let's label these. This is my x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So negative 16 minus 5 is negative 21 over 4 minus negative 3 is 7. That is equal to negative 3. Then I do y is equal to mx plus b. So to solve for b. So 5y is equal to m times x plus b. So 5 is equal to 9 plus b. Therefore, negative 4 is equal to b. Now that we have your m and the y-intercept, you set them up. Y is equal to mx plus b. And that is answer choice A. Okay, number 23, horizontal line passing through this point, right? So horizontal line means it's passing through the y coordinate, right? And if you forget, you can even try graphing it, right? Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 14. If the point is up there, you're looking for the equation of the horizontal line. That's at the 14, right? So it's y is equal to 14. That's it. If it's the vertical line, it's passing through the x coordinate. So they can ask you either or. Okay, last two problems. 24, it just means change it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 4x. I have negative 11y is equal to 4x minus 33. Divide all the terms by negative 11. I have y is equal to negative 4/11 x plus 3. Okay, so my slope here is this, and my y-intercept is that, 0, 3. So that gives me negative 4/11 and 0, 3. Last but not least, the easy way I told you, right, is look for very clear points, right? Points that are very easy to identify. I see a negative 2, 0, and I see a 0, negative 6 here. So how do I get from left to right? So I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So down 6 means negative 6, and then across 2, 1, 2. So negative 6 over 2 equals negative 3. That is answer choice D. How did y'all do?